Sorry, I got over the limit. My final thoughts on power in language and for teachers is regarding the how the micropolitics of the classroom reflect large-scale social structure. And so social relations are reproduced in daily classroom interactions. That is directly pulled from the Pennycook article. Um, if we see that in everyday interactions, what we see that there is derision towards teachers. We see that students come in and have a lack of respect for teachers. They break rules, which is, kind of normal, but they also do things like make fun and throw spitballs and throw papers and do things to actively sabotage teaching. And that isn't necessarily an internal, just like evil thing in children or in students. It really comes from how society teaches them to view a teacher and education and schooling. And depending on where they're coming from, that can come across loud and clear from their parents. It can come across loud and clear from the TV. It can come across in media. It can come across from many ways that language is shared throughout society and in their culture. So teachers then in return receive that derision from their students. They receive, lack of respect from the administration who doesn't trust that they actually know what they're doing. They are constantly being, checked on and monitored because apparently they're not doing a good enough job. And so they feel very much powerless because they have so much power taken away from them from their superiors and their inferiors, that they feel like they're kind of being attacked, I think, in a way. I think this meme is a good example of that, is just blame everything on the teachers, throw tomatoes at them, and then it says that there's going to be a teacher shortage soon. I wonder why. I also see this as a way that because teachers feel like this, they feel like they're being in this kind of abusive relationship or being bullied all the time, they start to really believe that they are powerless. And I've had a couple of conversations where I have said, that their teachers are the masses, and so why shouldn't they be able to control more of what's going on? And I believe that it does come from this their own self-perception of being powerless. They can't see their power. They live in a pretty much disbelief of it. And because the language around them, the people around them are telling them and showing them that they are powerless. So I think you just have to have a change in mentality. You have to kind of be aware that you're in an abusive relationship, and that and you have to be aware and be shown that you are powerful in a way. I think that's one of the things that's really sad to see teacher unions lacking power, because there's no longer a trust that teachers together can do anything. So I think that if that change in mentality were to come about, you would have a huge change in education in general. I think a lot of teachers that are just trying to get through retirement, trying to not burn out, trying to do the minimum, phoning it in, as somebody recently told me. This is how he described teachers, that they're just phoning it in. That would stop, because you would see that people, once they feel like they are in control, they do have power over their profession and what happens to them, what's happening around them, there would be a huge, upswing in what's being done as far as education goes. Final comment is that somebody also recently told me that teaching was one of the most prestigious professions in the country. When you compare it to other professions, and I received that information in disbelief, because I do not feel as a teacher that it is treated with prestige. Our salary tells us that. The respect that we get on a daily basis from the youth tells us that. If you were to have a doctor in front of a group of students, they would probably just be able to say, I'm a doctor, and garner more respect than I'm a teacher. There's just so many things that show that there is a constant disrespect towards the profession. And however, again, I think that it's interesting to say that there are tons of things out there that do show a love for teachers, that there is a relationship between, there's this kind of belief that there are good teachers and bad teachers, instead of maybe just unprepared or powerless feeling teachers. So it's worth definitely some further inquiry and consideration as to what could happen, what could change in language to move it into that prestigious profession. What could change in language, or what could the shift in mentality be in order for teachers to feel that they are powerful again? And the quote that I like the most from the Pennycook article that possibly touches on this is where she quotes, for these reasons, Giroux, 1988, talks of the need to develop a language of both critique and hope in critical education theory. And Roger Simon, 1992, talks of a pedagogy of possibility. I think I'm a proponent of that idea, and a proponent of the belief that if we could change some of the language, if we could change some of just the simple feelings of powerlessness and being able to take back power, then that would be a cultural shift in language that we would then see later on down the road of there being a different perception of what it means to be a teacher. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the presentation.